Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, General Hospital. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. The Friday, August 1st episode of General Hospital is poised to introduce veteran actor Mark Forget as Pascal, a mystery man who may finally shed some light on what the back from the dead Britt's master plan is. What we've gleaned so far is that Britt is involved in Professor Dalton's code fusion research, and, it would seem, is also his boss. How do we make that leap of logic? Well, would a mere colleague be able to complain about the files she received from him being a mess? Actually, we suppose so. Here at Soaps.com, we grumble at each other all the time, albeit lovingly. Nevertheless, Britt appeared to be running the show. There was also something in the way that the nefarious Sidwell warned Dalton that their friend was not happy with his lack of progress. It felt like their friend had some power, right? Now, where Britt would have gotten any power remains a question mark. Perhaps she learned off-screen that some had been bequeathed to her by her late father, one of soapdom's most infamous villains. She's crafty in her own right, too. A cursory review of her bonkers history will show you that. It seems unlikely that Britt would have faked her death and put her mother Obrecht through the anguish of mourning her. But if the research was important enough and could potentially cure her and others of Huntington's disease, maybe Britt figured that she'd eventually be able to alleviate her mother's suffering by showing up alive and well and having cured a disease on top of it. Canadian-born Forget has a mile-long list of credits dating back to the late 1990s. Among the series in which you may have already spotted him are Law & Order SVU and Grey's Anatomy. Find out when both shows are returning this fall via our handy-dandy primetime scheduling photo gallery. In the dimly lit halls of General Hospital, where secrets are currency and trust is rarer than a sunny day in Port Charles, a storm was brewing. Whispers flitted through the corridors like ghosts, and at the center of the storm stood a question that had haunted every corner of the hospital for weeks. Britt's death had been as dramatic as her life. A tragic farewell wrapped in heartbreak and mystery. She had died in her mother's arms, or so everyone thought. Her body had been buried, tears had been shed, and life had moved on. Until 3 days ago, when she waltzed into the hospital lobby wearing a trench coat and sunglasses as if she hadn't been declared very much dead 8 months ago. Some gasped, others screamed, but none dared ask the question out loud. He arrived the same day Britt did, tall, unshaven, and haunted. No ID, no medical records, no name, just a cryptic smile and a British accent thick enough to slice through tension. The nurses dubbed him Mr. Blackout because wherever he went, surveillance cameras mysteriously glitched. But someone noticed, Elizabeth Weber. "He's not just here for care," she whispered to Finn in the break room, clutching her coffee like a lifeline. "He's watching Britt." Indeed, the man seemed to orbit Britt like a moon locked in gravity. He never approached, never spoke to her, but his gaze, icy, knowing, dangerous. And Britt, she knew it. Behind her revived charm and familiar smirk, Britt was unraveling. She had returned with a vague story. She'd faked her death to escape her past, to outmaneuver a cartel that her mother, Dr. Liza Obrecht, had once tangled with. She spoke of running, hiding, surviving, but her scars didn't match her tale. Her medical records had gaps, and no one could explain the black tattoo behind her ear, shaped like an Ouroboros, a snake devouring its own tail. Spinelli tried to trace it digitally. Anna called in a WSB favor. Even Sonny raised an eyebrow. But the truth came like thunder. On a humid Thursday evening, as thunder rolled over the city, Britt received a manila envelope at the nurse's station. No return address. Inside were photographs. Dozens. Hers. In Istanbul, Prague, Cape Town. And a photo from 2 weeks ago, her face caught beside a bald man in a military jacket with the black serpent pin. She turned pale. "He knows," she whispered. And that night, Britt ran, but she didn't get far. She found him in the hospital chapel, standing before a stained glass window. "I told you to stay buried, Britt," he said without turning. "You followed me across continents. What do you want?" He turned, finally, revealing eyes like storm clouds. The truth. There was silence, heavy and sharp. Then, like pulling a thread that unravels a sweater, it began. Britt hadn't died. Her death was orchestrated by a rogue WSB faction, codenamed Cerberus, who faked her autopsy, extracted her from the ER, and staged a burial. Why? Because she had created something. A serum. Not just any serum, a genetic stabilizer capable of reprogramming DNA. Originally meant to treat Huntington's, it had caught the eye of people who wanted to weaponize it. Britt had destroyed her lab and fled. But she wasn't alone. Neon was once WSB's top retrieval agent, until he found out Britt wasn't just a scientist, she was also his sister. They had been separated as children, adopted into different lives, their mother a German double agent with too many enemies. And now, Elias had defected. To find her, to expose Cerberus, to finally destroy the program. But Britt had lied again. "I didn't destroy the serum," she confessed, voice trembling. "I tested it, on myself." Elias's face paled. The serum worked. That's how she survived a terminal diagnosis. But it came at a cost. Cellular instability, memory gaps, hallucinations. And now, it was accelerating. Britt wasn't just back from the dead, she was living on borrowed time. Elias took a shaky breath. "We can fix this. Together." But Britt shook her head. "No, I made my choices. But the people at General Hospital deserve the truth. You have to finish what I started." The next morning, Elias appeared at the morning staff briefing, a flash drive in hand and Britt at his side. This hospital deserves to know the truth about Britt, about Cerberus, about why the dead walk and the living live in fear. And just like that, secrets spilled like ink across paper. The serum, the WSB cover-up, the staged death, the surveillance footage, even the mysterious patients in the East Wing, all test subjects. Gasps, shouts, chaos, but clarity, finally. Britt, though weak, smiled through tears. "I didn't come back to hide. I came back to end it." With Elias at her side and the full weight of General Hospital behind them, they launched a counter-operation. The Cerberus cell was dismantled, the serum locked in WSB vaults. And Britt? She stayed. Fragile, but fearless. Because sometimes the dead don't return for revenge, they return for redemption.